obviously pretty gutted about the decision. We thought it was going to go our way, but it certainly has proven that there was no way to win this through the courts.
Ever since Prince Harry and his wife stepped back from royal duties in 2020, they've been entangled in controversy and court fights. Harry lost a major legal battle in 2025 over UK police protection after years of challenging the withdrawal of taxpayer-funded security. At the same time, he has pursued long-running lawsuits against British tabloids for alleged privacy breaches. Now, with media trials unfolding and headlines buzzing, the spotlight has turned to reports that his own legal team abruptly quit. So what really happened behind the scenes, and why did his lawyers walk away? Join us as we unpack all the shocking details. How Prince Harry lost it all. 2026 has been shaping up to be one of the messiest years yet for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and none of it happened by accident. When they stepped away from royal duties, the expectation, at least on their side, seemed simple. Freedom, control, a clean break from the palace machine, ride off into the sunset and live life on their own terms. That never happened. Instead, the years that followed have been marked by courtrooms, legal filings, and headlines that refuse to die. One case ends, another begins. One lawyer exits, another steps in, and by 2025 alone, Harry and Meghan had stacked up 3 major legal battles, bouncing between jurisdictions, firms, and court dates. The strategy was aggressive. The lawyers were top tier. The pace never slowed. Until it did. Because by the time Harry found himself back in a UK courtroom earlier this year, something had clearly shifted. According to reports from inside the room, what was supposed to be another procedural appearance turned explosive. Tensions rose, words were exchanged, and then abruptly, Harry's legal team walked away on the spot. So what actually happened that day in court, and how did it get this far? Keep watching to find out. For years, the Duke of Sussex has positioned himself as one of the most outspoken opponents of the British tabloid press. What started as personal resentment hardened into a mission, one rooted in the phone hacking scandal that rocked the UK media industry and exposed widespread abuses of privacy. Harry didn't just want damages, he wanted accountability. By late January 2026, he returned to the UK alone, without Meghan, without their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, to open yet another front in that long-running war. This time, it was a privacy invasion case against Associated Newspapers, one of Britain's most powerful publishing groups. On Wednesday the 21st, Harry took the witness stand in a London courtroom, prepared to relive years of tabloid scrutiny under oath. That alone marked a break from royal tradition. For most of the 20th century, the royal family avoided public litigation at all costs. Legal disputes were handled quietly, if at all. Harry tore that rulebook up. Ever since he stopped relying on the late Queen Elizabeth II's legal advisors and hired his own team, he has pursued the press and the government with relentless intensity. That shift began in 2019, shortly after Meghan launched her own lawsuit against Associated Newspapers and The Mail on Sunday, accusing the publisher of breaching her privacy and copyright. She ultimately won. From there, Harry took things further. At the end of a trip to South Africa, he announced lawsuits against News Group newspapers and Mirror Group newspapers. Months later, he declared that he and Meghan would no longer cooperate with several tabloids at all. The announcement sent shockwaves through the media and quietly deepened the rift between Harry and his family. By early 2020, that tension culminated in the couple's decision to step back from senior royal duties and relocate to North America. The courtroom appearances didn't stop. In June 2023, Harry became the first senior royal to testify in High Court since 1891, when Edward VII took the stand. After more than 6 years of litigation, sources close to the prince suggested he was ready for closure. One told The Times that while court battles were unpleasant, Harry viewed them as a necessary continuation of a mission he felt compelled to finish. Even so, the reality was clear. He was still fighting. 2 major cases were active. 4 more sat in the rearview mirror. One of the most significant was Harry versus Mirror Group newspapers. Filed in 2019, the case accused the publisher of unlawfully gathering information for dozens of stories published between 1996 and 2010. Harry testified for 2 days in 2023, describing how those intrusions affected his mental health and his relationship with his former girlfriend Chelsea Davy. He won on 15 of 33 claims and was awarded £140,600,000 in damages. Then came Harry and Meghan versus paparazzi agency X17. After photos of Archie appeared in a German magazine, the couple sued in 2020. The agency admitted to shopping the images, apologized publicly, agreed to destroy the photos, and paid a portion of the couple's legal fees. Another flashpoint emerged in the United States with Harry versus the Heritage Foundation, or rather, Harry as the central figure in the foundation's 2023 lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. The conservative group sought his immigration records, citing admissions about drug use in his memoir, Spare. The case was dismissed, with the Department of Homeland Security confirming Harry went through standard vetting. No further documents have surfaced since March 2025. There was also Harry versus News Group newspapers, tied to Rupert Murdoch's UK publishing arm. Harry joined the case in 2019, alongside more than 40 celebrities, including Hugh Grant. By the end of 2024, Harry was one of only 2 plaintiffs left after widespread settlements. Reports later suggested a settlement in the tens of millions, and an apology along with claims that Prince William had quietly settled his own case years earlier. And finally, Harry versus Associated Newspapers, the case that brought him back to court this year. Filed in 2022 alongside high-profile figures like Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, and Sadie Frost. The lawsuit alleged widespread illegal information gathering. The publisher has denied all wrongdoing, and the case remains ongoing. It was inside that fight, amid years of pressure, stacked lawsuits, and legal fatigue that Harry's legal team reportedly walked away. No warning, no soft landing, just another chapter in a legal war that shows no sign of ending quietly. But even as Harry battled the press on one front, another fight was unfolding in parallel: the legal fight against the British government. Separate from the media wars, another fight has been quietly grinding on in the background, and in many ways, it's the one that matters most to Harry. For years, Harry has been locked in a legal battle over security, a dispute built around one loaded question: whether he should receive official, armed, government-funded protection when he returns to the UK. In May 2025, he lost that fight. A court rejected his appeal to have taxpayer-funded police protection reinstated, reinforcing the government's position that once he stepped away from royal duties, full-time security was no longer automatic. It was a major blow, and it deepened an already strained relationship between Harry and UK authorities over how his safety is assessed. But the story didn't end there. Despite the loss, Harry kept pushing. Sources speaking to people say there are positive signals coming from within government circles. Insiders claim officials are seriously considering reversing the earlier decision and upgrading Harry's security when he visits Britain. That change traces back to December, when a full-scale review of Harry's security was finally approved after years of campaigning. It triggered an official risk assessment carried out by the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, better known as RAVEC, the body responsible for deciding who qualifies for state-funded protection. Its members include representatives from the UK Home Office, the Metropolitan Police, and the Royal Household. In early January, the Mail on Sunday reported that the review concluded Harry meets the criteria for top-level security. A source close to him described the outcome as essentially settled, suggesting officials at the Home Office had indicated the protection was nailed on. The language matters, because if true, it signals that the assessment, not Harry's status, is driving the decision. The prevailing belief now is that, unless there's last-minute resistance from within the government, Harry will be granted the armed guards and institutional backing he once had as a working royal. And for Harry, this isn't abstract. He has repeatedly said that without official protection, he will not bring Meghan Markle or their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, back to the UK. If the decision is reversed, it could reopen doors that have been firmly shut since 2020. Family visits, public appearances, even the possibility of his children spending time in the country of his birth, and, crucially, time with his father, King Charles III. That context matters even more given what emerged last year. In September 2025, during a charity visit to the UK, a female stalker reportedly came within feet of Harry on multiple occasions. The incident wasn't widely publicized at the time, but it resurfaced during discussions around his security and added weight to his argument that existing measures were insufficient. The timeline only sharpens the point. Harry lost his automatic security in 2020 when he and Meghan stepped back from frontline royal roles. During his 2025 court case, it emerged that there had been no formal risk assessment since 2019. That revelation raised eyebrows and questions about whether his situation had been evaluated at all in the years since. After losing the appeal in May, Harry made another move. In October 2025, he personally appealed to the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, the minister responsible for policing and crime prevention. It was a direct intervention. No lawyers, no intermediaries. And then came the BBC interview. Speaking after the failed appeal, Harry suggested that his father could potentially influence the outcome, comments that immediately triggered pushback. The palace reiterated that the king has no authority over security decisions. The government echoed the same line. Still, the implication lingered. By December, the review officially began. Now, with that assessment complete and reports pointing toward a possible upgrade, Harry's security fight appears to be entering its final phase. Whether it ends in reinstated protection or another refusal, one thing is clear: this battle has never been just about guards. It's whether Harry can ever safely return home with the life he built outside the palace walls. And that's where the royal family finally drew their boundary. What has the royal family said about the legal woes? The moment Prince Harry took his grievances public again, the royal family shut the door firmly and without hesitation. The moment Prince Harry took his grievances public again, the royal family shut the door without hesitation. Within hours of his BBC interview on May 2, 2025, Buckingham Palace released a short, blunt statement that left little room for interpretation. There was no emotion in it, no olive branch. It was procedural, deliberate, and final. The message was simple. From the palace's point of view, this chapter was already over. A spokesperson said Harry's security concerns had been examined repeatedly and meticulously by the courts, with the same conclusion reached every time. It was less a response than a reminder. The process, they said, had run its course. That statement came just after the Court of Appeal dismissed Harry's latest challenge, a decision delivered by Judge Geoffrey Voss and unanimously backed by two other judges. Voss laid out the reasoning in plain terms. Harry, he explained, moves in and out of the security framework overseen by the Royal and VIP Executive Committee. Outside the UK, he is not part of it. Inside the UK, protection is assessed individually based on circumstances at the time. That system, the court ruled, was neither flawed nor unfair. Voss described it as sensible. He went further, addressing the core of Harry's argument. Even if another risk assessment had been carried out, it would not have changed the outcome. The court accepted that Harry faces threats. What it rejected was the idea that those threats automatically entitled him to permanent, state-funded protection for future visits that may or may not happen. Ravek's decision, Voss said, was understandable and predictable. That framing matters because it closely mirrors the palace's own position. Harry had flown from California to London for the two-day hearing at the Royal Courts of Justice on April 8th and 9th, the latest move in a legal campaign stretching back years. His goal was clear: to restore the automatic protection he lost after stepping back from royal duties in 2020. He had already lost his initial case in February 2024. This appeal was effectively his final chance. On May 2nd, it failed. Still, Harry did not step back quietly. In his BBC interview, he spoke openly and emotionally. He claimed his father, King Charles III, would not speak to him because of the security dispute. He said some members of his family would never forgive him for publishing Spare. He admitted he could not imagine bringing Meghan Markle and their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, back to the UK without full protection. He said he simply could not see a scenario where that felt safe. Harry also touched on his father's health, acknowledging the king's ongoing cancer treatment. He spoke about reconciliation, about time running out, and about life being fragile. He said he did not know how long his father had left. The palace did not respond to any of it. Instead, officials repeated what they had said before. The king, they stressed, has no authority over security arrangements and no power to reinstate Harry's protection. That belief, long held by Harry, was firmly rejected again. The message didn't change. This was not a family matter. It was not a personal dispute. It was an institutional process governed by law. After the ruling, Harry released a written statement on Sussex.com. He thanked his legal team and the judges, framing the appeal as a last resort driven by concern for his family's safety. He said he was asking only for standard procedures and equal treatment. He even suggested the case had exposed uncomfortable truths about the royal household's role in Ravec. He reaffirmed his love for the UK, his commitment to public service, and his belief that, beneath all the noise, the issue had always been about protection. Once again, the palace said nothing. That silence may be the clearest signal of all. What the royal family has said about Harry's legal battles is not framed in reconciliation or regret. From their perspective, the courts have ruled. The framework works, and the matter is settled. Harry may still be fighting. The institution he left behind has made it clear it is moving on. And while the palace spoke in policy and procedure, one figure did not speak at all. What has William said about Harry's legal battles? While one brother was laughing his way across an ice rink in Scotland, the other was preparing to relive years of anger, resentment, and unresolved history inside a courtroom. That contrast could not have been sharper. Last week, Prince William and Catherine were in Scotland, moving easily through a packed schedule that felt light, confident, and deliberately unburdened. They joked with Winter Olympics athletes during a curling session, slid awkwardly but cheerfully across the ice, and later shared drinks and laughter with locals inside a small village pub. The optics were unmistakable, relaxed, connected, and fully at ease in their role. At the same time, Prince Harry was back in Britain for another round of legal proceedings, this time against a newspaper group continuing a cycle that has defined much of his post-royal life. Geographically, the brothers were closer than they had been in months. Emotionally, they might as well have been on different continents. Royal author Robert Jobson summed it up bluntly, saying that despite being in the same country, William and Harry now exist in entirely separate worlds. In his view, William and Kate represent the future of the monarchy, while Harry remains locked in the past. One brother focused on duty, the other is a grievance. One building forward momentum, the other is still fighting old battles. And that gap, Jobson argued, is no longer bridgeable. While William and Kate were flying the flag for British sport ahead of the upcoming Winter Games, Harry was preparing to give emotional testimony at the High Court. The symbolism was hard to miss. Public service versus personal reckoning. Progress versus protest. The estrangement played out quietly but clearly. At the National Curling Academy in Stirling, William and Kate tried the sport for the first time.
Okay, moving on for now. Prince William and Princess Kate have gone head-to-head at the National Curling Academy in Scotland,
Cautiously guiding stones across the ice toward the target. Kate gripped William's arm as she stepped onto the rink, lifting her wool kilt skirt slightly, tucking her hair back and laughing as she found her balance. William cracked jokes with the athletes, easing the moment. From there, the couple visited Radical Weavers, a charity using traditional Scottish tartan weaving to support people dealing with social isolation and trauma. Their final stop was the Gothenburg pub in Falun, a former mining village near Stirling, where they sat with residents over drinks and conversation. By evening, they had flown back to Windsor. The next day, Harry took the witness stand. His testimony was emotional, at times visibly so. He accused the newspaper group of making Meghan Markle's life an absolute misery. By then, William and Kate were back in Windsor, just 25 miles from the High Court. A meeting would have been easy, but it didn't happen. Whatever distance existed between them wasn't about geography anymore. Physical proximity did nothing to close the emotional gulf. If anything, it showed how final the distance has become. And in 2025, William sent what many observers saw as an unmistakable message. Earlier this year, Jason Knopf, the former royal aide who accused Meghan of bullying palace staff, was named CEO of the Earthshot Prize, William's flagship environmental initiative. For royal watchers, the significance was immediate and explosive. Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams said the decision would inevitably infuriate Harry and Meghan. In his view, it was impossible to avoid the sense that William knew exactly what he was doing. Knopf, he argued, holds pariah status in Sussex circles. By elevating him to one of the most prestigious roles in William's orbit, the Prince of Wales was making it clear that he no longer cares what his brother thinks. The message wasn't subtle. A statement released on April 17th confirmed that Earthshot's current CEO, Hannah Jones, would step down after 4 years. Knopf joined immediately and will work alongside her during the transition. William praised Jones publicly, crediting her with building Earthshot into a world-class organization, then made it clear he was already looking ahead toward the next 5 years and toward Knopf. British royal expert Hilary Fordwich described the move as deeply significant. In her view, it represented William's unwavering support for Knopf during the bullying controversy and a clear signal that William views those allegations as legitimate. She argued that after feeling betrayed by his brother, William now values loyalty and discretion above all else. Knopf, she said, remains one of his closest confidants. That trust runs deep. Knopf, an American, worked at the highest levels of the royal family for 7 years. He oversaw communications for Harry and Meghan as well as for William and Kate. In 2016, he was tasked with protecting Meghan from relentless tabloid scrutiny when her relationship with Harry became public. He later described their 2018 wedding as an amazing, magical experience. But 5 months after the wedding, everything changed. Knopf sent an incendiary email to Simon Case, then William's private secretary, raising serious concerns about Meghan's behavior towards staff. In the message, he claimed 2 palace aides had been bullied out of the household and that another had had her confidence systematically undermined. He described a pattern of behavior that he believed was escalating and warned that he himself might become the next target. He resigned a month later. Yet he was quickly rehired to work for William and Kate as a special advisor and later became CEO of their royal foundation. The Sussexes' offices split from the Cambridges before Harry and Meghan formally stepped back from royal duties in 2020. When journalist Valentine Lowe broke the bullying allegations in 2021, just days before Harry and Meghan's Oprah interview, the fallout was immediate. Meghan's team strongly denied the claims, calling them a calculated smear campaign filled with misleading and harmful misinformation. Buckingham Palace later confirmed it had completed a review into how the allegations were handled, but declined to publish the findings. Knopf remained largely silent until February, when he gave a rare televised interview to 60 Minutes Australia. Shortly before Meghan launched her Netflix series With Love, Meghan. Asked about the public scrutiny, Knopf said that taking criticism was part of the job. "You don't get to choose only the enjoyable parts," he explained. He said he wouldn't change anything. That comment landed heavily. British broadcaster Helena Chard said William now surrounds himself with people he considers trustworthy and professional. "Trust," she said, "is the glue holding William's world together." After repeated leaks, grievance, and public disclosures from Harry, that trust collapsed. Knopf, by contrast, proved himself discreet, loyal, and reliable during difficult moments. From that perspective, his promotion was not surprising. It was confirmation. In 2022, Buckingham Palace completed its internal review into the bullying allegations, but kept the conclusions private. Chard believes Knopf's appointment implicitly endorses his account. She suggested Harry and Meghan may now be wondering what else could emerge. One thing, she said, is certain. William champions those he believes stood by him when it mattered. Lowe, whose book Courtiers detailed the breakdown of relations between the Sussexes and palace staff, has repeatedly said he stands by his reporting. He noted that despite aggressive legal threats before publication, nothing followed afterward. That silence, he said, spoke volumes. His book claimed tensions became so severe that William's private secretary had to intervene, and that some former staff still struggled to speak about their experiences, referring to themselves as members of the Sussex Survivors Club. Against that backdrop, William's choices look less like coincidence and more like consolidation. While Harry continues to fight legal battles, revisit old wounds, and speak publicly about family estrangement, William is building institutions, appointing trusted allies, and positioning himself for the long term. The contrast is no longer subtle, it's structural. Two brothers, two paths, one monarchy moving forward, and one relationship that by all visible signs may already be beyond repair. Do you think the brothers will finally reach a common ground and let go of the past? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.